What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more electronic. And we're going to listen to the first of a number of bonus tunes included in an expanded folder for their 1996 album Raise the Pressure. Thank you again to Han Solo. And the first of these is Imitation of Life. So the phrase makes me think of how people often refer to art. It's an imitation of life, and then life imitates art, and the cycle continues. I would suppose that life is in some ways, in a phrase like this, being referred to as reality, the actual, whereas imitation is a creation. It is artificial in a way, though it can of course be done in a natural way. But yes, imitation of life could refer to a creation of a character, the drawing of a living being, be it a human or otherwise. It could be about someone's imagination, the way we see ourselves doing things perhaps in the future that we want to do, or that maybe we haven't had the courage to do yet, or looking back to the past and thinking of situations where if only I did this differently. Either way, it's a creation of life that is not actually actual, but is part of that, I suppose, spectrum. In one way, it feels like a dichotomy, something which isn't real and something which is real, something which is only mental and something which is physical. But given that a physical being can have a mental vision of something which hasn't happened but could very well come to fruition physically, it seems more like a spectrum, and perhaps imitation of life, be it artistic or otherwise, or indeed just cognitive, is maybe somewhere in the middle of that spectrum rather than being at one or the other pole. I'm not sure what I'll see or hear when we listen, but I'll try to pick up what I can. This is electronic, and it's the first of several bonus tunes included in an expanded folder for their 1996 album Raise the Pressure. Urgent and electronic, like underground sonics. Whoa.
Inside my imagination, there is an imitation of life. Capture me for an instant, still in your camera, edited of life. The head of a hungry pack of hounds will track me down. Say it's not over, let's say a prayer, let's turn it over, show that we care. Walk in the desert, lie in the shade, we'll be together. Don't be afraid, say it's not over.
acidy quality to that underlying bass line. And this kick and heavy bass drag, there's a gabber-like quality to it.
captured me for an instant. Still in your camera, emptied of light. The head of a hungry pack of hounds will track me down. Say it's not over, let's say a prayer. Let's turn it over, show that we care. Walk in the desert, lie in the shade. We'll be together, don't be afraid. Say it's not over.
What the hell? That's crazy. So the Sonics are jumping off the page to me here. They do have, in several respects, more of an underground sound. And we actually had a reference to going underground and finding a little space. But we'll get to the lyrics and themes as I caught them in a moment. But seriously, from that alarm-style opening, very urgent, very electronic and intense, to the, again, gabber-style heavy kick with distorted bass, first in a sort of double time hit, and then eventually getting to almost a full 4/4 rhythm, and then even intensifying more after that, leading into a dead pause, and then a re-entry into a proper verse. Just crazy. And also, as I said, a bit of a acidic quality to the more simple bass line, so really compelling sonics on this one, and again, mixing electronic sounds that I wouldn't be surprised to hear in a techno track, a trance track, or in fact a hardcore track, with pop stylings and vocals. The vocals, I gotta say, somewhere on this one to me almost sounded like the lead singer of Anything Box, which is a more obscure group. Shout out to Herman, he's given me access to some Anything Box, and I've really enjoyed some of the tunes from them I've gone through so far. So I don't know what it was about his delivery, but something about his delivery here reminded me of the vocals from that group. And yeah, ultimately, I love the heavy and lighter contrast as it went through the more instrumental electronic sections and then the more pop-styled verses/chorus. I will say definite layering of his voice in some places and echoing of his voice. So yeah, the Sonics definitely stood out to me the most on this track, but I did enjoy some of the lines. Certainly we had reference to imagination, which I was thinking about in advance, but I don't know exactly how that fits in with the Imitation of Life. I believe we also heard a reference to like a camera and taking a snapshot of someone, which is a sort of representation of life, but it's inert, immobile, and two-dimensional. So a picture, it's an imitation of life in that it's like a two-dimensional, instantaneous but singular slice of life, but that is indicative of things which are dynamic, three-dimensional, and in time. So I'm not sure how that all fits together, but the idea that a vision in your head or a picture from a camera could be an imitation of life, I see conceptually where that could make sense, but I still don't know how all the lyrics and lines tie together because I didn't catch everything, in part because I was so keyed in on the Sonics. So with a special celebration of the heavy kick with distorted bass line that I would never have expected to hear in a synth pop tune or even specifically an electronic tune, I will say the music on this one really stood out to the fore, and the lyrics seemed to be interesting as well. So really cool tune. Wonder if that was a B-side on one of their singles. It did have, I suppose, a slightly more experimental sound than some of the tracks on the album proper. To be fair, they've had a style that has been more electronic dance than some other synth pop groups I've gone through, which I guess if your name as a group or duo is electronic, that's not all that surprising. But even saying that, this one felt more underground in its sonic. So definitely a cool tune. Really curious about it. Let me know if you have any insight or opinions or analysis, and I will see you next time. Peace.